If you haven't heard about the most controversial celebrity trial of the century, we'd suggest you get out from under your rock and watch this video. The trial was filled with dramatic twists and turns that even kept the jury members on their toes. And frankly, us too. The entire world was divided on who to support in this trial. Let's dive into recent developments in the Depp Defamation case. First off, is the case finally settled? Like many controversial trials, this too came to an end on December 14th. After a 7-person jury ruled in favor of Depp. The jury ordered Heard to pay $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages in his suit. Hold on, there's more to the story. The jury also discovered through Waldman that Depp had also defamed Amber on one count and was made to pay $2 million in compensatory damages, but $0 in punitive damages. Yikes! Who knew a 2-year marriage could be so costly? Heard had initially appealed the ruling that was making her pay Depp in damages, but soon dropped it after realizing that she wanted to end all litigation between her and Depp over their claims against one another. A settlement surely wasn't something Heard's legal team was looking for, but eventually they agreed to it, although the terms of the agreement weren't immediately publicized. Heard took it to Instagram to talk about how this wasn't something she wanted, but ultimately had to settle for. She talks about fighting for her truth, and in her post, she says, "I defended my truth, and in doing so, my life as I knew it was destroyed." Meanwhile, Depp shared a heartfelt message on Instagram, expressing his gratitude to everyone who stood by his side and gifted him their love, loyalty, and support. He also talked about resigning his role as Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts franchise. He also said he'll be appealing the decision by the UK court and will keep on fighting. And this marks the end of a bitter 3-year battle between two of the most beloved screen presences of all time. Next up, here's a little recap of their relationship throughout the years. Amber and Johnny met on the set of The Rum Diary in 2009 and started dating in 2012, according to court dates. This is also the same year that Depp ended his 14-year relationship with Vanessa Paradis. Fast forward to 2014, when Heard is seen wearing an engagement ring, which Depp later confirms to be true. They married in a private ceremony in 2015, which also happens to be the year when Heard and Depp are caught attempting to smuggle their dogs into Australia. In 2016, things take a turn for the worse when Heard files a divorce suit against Depp and gets a temporary restraining order against him after he throws a phone at her and bruises her. She stated that she felt unsafe in his presence because he was prone to violent outbursts. She requested that Johnny attend anger management classes, as well as additional protection for their dogs. The judge denied her request and dismissed it. The police at the time also failed to take Amber seriously and didn't press any charges against Depp. The couple soon announced their divorce. Let's take a look at where it all went wrong. The real problem arose when Amber wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post about domestic abuse, in which she discussed her own experiences with abuse from childhood to adulthood, but never mentioned Depp's name, who later filed defamation charges against her in 2019, claiming it was a publicity stunt and that she was the perpetrator rather than the victim. And this is not where it ends. There was a libel trial going on in the UK at the same time too, over the newspaper The Sun calling Depp a wife-beater. Depp sued the executive editor and the parent company for the newspaper. The judge gives the ruling in favor of The Sun. Support for Depp sprung out into a bigger movement for male domestic violence issues, garnering supporters from all over the world. Fans claim that it helped a lot of victims come out with and fight for their truth. Let's take a look at the highs and lows of the trial. First up, we have the severed finger. When Depp was filming Pirates of the Caribbean, his right middle finger's tip was severed during a heated conflict with Heard, and he claimed it was cut when she threw a vodka bottle at him. But she said she wasn't aware of when it happened, but it was probably when he smashed a wall-mounted phone. She said Depp also assaulted her that night with a liquor bottle, not to mention the poop on the bed incident. Perhaps one of the most bizarre incidents ever brought up in a trial was that Depp was shown a picture of fecal matter on his side of the bed after a heated conversation with her on her birthday. Heard claimed it was one of the dogs, but Depp said it was indistinguishable from human feces. Kate Moss was a last-minute addition to the witness list. She was called to refute a long-standing rumor about Depp pushing her down the stairs. She stated that she had heard hurt her back when she slipped on the staircase, and Depp came in, carried her, and got her medical attention. Heard's legal team called actress Ellen Barkin to give her testimony, and she claimed that Depp was a jealous and controlling boyfriend, and even threw a wine bottle at her. Guess who needed anger management classes after all? Following that, evidence comes to light. As a prerequisite to any trial, evidence was asked to be submitted from both sides. Audio and text messages were brought to light. Not surprisingly, most of them were filled with profanity. Heard sent in a video of a drunk Depp in the kitchen, pouring himself a glass of wine, and smashing the windows. Both Depp and Heard submitted proof of injuries they both sustained because of their relationship. Heard's legal team also brought up Depp's excessive drug use, and Amber testified that Depp was prone to abusing alcohol, cocaine, and painkillers during their relationship. Heard's lawyers also presented visual evidence of Depp passing out as a result of excessive drug use. Depp's lawyer responded by saying that he wasn't entirely innocent and would indulge in drugs and alcohol from time to time too, highlighting his drug use would have given Heard's team an advantage, as his being a drug addict helped her case. Depp sending all sorts of hostile texts about what he'd like Amber to go through also didn't help his case. He texted Paul Bettany, "Let's burn her, and let's drown her before we burn her." If you ask us, it doesn't seem very convincing. Next up, we have professional testimonies. When called to the stand by Depp's legal team, clinical psychologist Anderson gave us more insight into Amber and Johnny's relationship. She said Depp had never lost his cool before he met Amber. She described their relationship as being incredibly volatile, and that they often refused to compromise for each other during arguments and would usually walk out. She said that Amber was the reason why Depp was acting out. More so, she said Amber would instigate all sorts of fights in order to keep Depp from walking out of the relationship, keeping them in a mutually abusive relationship for her pride's sake. Forensic psychologist Dr. Curry diagnosed Amber with borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder. Curry said she reached her conclusion after spending 12 hours with Heard. Her twin diagnoses did give some sort of justification for Heard's actions, and Curry also said it was due to her fear of abandonment that she so often acted out and fought with Depp to make him stay. This was followed by an audio clip of Heard begging Depp not to leave her. Now here's where it gets interesting. Dr. Hughes, called to the stand by the defendant's legal team, said something else. She said that the defendant was in fact suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder because of an abusive partner, and rejected the diagnoses made by Dr. Curry. The real question arises, how can two doctors make such contrasting diagnoses? Both actors have now taken time away from the screen to focus on themselves. Let's see what they're up to now. Let's take a look at where they are now. Amber Heard has stepped away from all of her social engagements and redirected her energies, selling her California home for a whopping $1.1 million and relocating to Spain with her now girlfriend Bianca Butti and daughter Una Page. After the trial, she said it was one of the most humiliating and dehumanizing experiences of her life, with people sending her death threats and dragging her name through the mud. She had to start anew somewhere. She believes that staying overseas gives her the privacy she needs right now to focus on her daughter and build her life back up again, with a healthy relationship on the side. Meanwhile, Johnny Depp was spotted traveling through Europe. He also updated his look with a unique pair of glasses and a necklace. He was producing music with his friend Jeff Beck, and his new album is set to be released in the coming months. Depp, who was asked to lead the Fantastic Beasts franchise as Grindelwald and is now making his way back into Hollywood, is set to direct Modigliani, with Al Pacino serving as producer, alongside Barry Navidi. This is one of the greatest gigs that Johnny has landed in the past 2 decades, and it turns out that going through an uber-controversial trial might have perks of its own. Finally, what's next for both actors post-trial? This messy and complicated trial that divided fans throughout the world has finally come to an end after both sides agreed to settle, but the damage done to both of their careers is irreversible. Heard's legal team estimated she lost around $40 to $50 million worth of endorsements, film, and show offers, while Depp lost around $22.5 million in the industry too. His appeal had massively dropped due to his unprofessional behavior, most of which was a direct result of his alcohol and drug use. And with the controversial trial as the cherry on top, casting directors aren't their biggest fans right now. We can now hope both sides can finally move on and carry on with their lives. That's a wrap for this video. What's your most controversial take on the Heard Depp trial? Who do you think was responsible? Let us know in the comments below. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe. More content is coming your way soon.